The number one reason why you can't get a second date is because you lack an emotional connection with the girls that you're going on dates with. Let me start off with a bit of a story. So, I want to say about 2 years ago, I was going on a series of dates, right? And there was this time where I went on 5 dates in a row, and this was in 1 week, and all of them went badly. I was desperately trying to figure out what went wrong. I was going to the point where I was even recording some of the dates because I was like, maybe it's something that I'm saying. Am I being weird? And, I just think of all the common reasons that, people say that your dates aren't going well. Like, oh, it's your looks, you need to get your style up, or you're not making enough money, or all these things. And the answer really was is that I wasn't really present on this date, right? So when I say a lack of emotional connection, when was the last time you went on a date with a girl and you genuinely had fun? Right? That became kind of like my litmus test of whether a date went good or not. Did I have fun? And I'm not talking about, oh, we had a stimulating conversation and we connected, right? I mean, like, genuinely had fun. Like, we were both locked into each other. And when you just really connect with someone and you really vibe and you can just tell there's electricity between you? That's the thing that's missing from your dates. And if you don't know how to build an emotional connection, that's going to set you up for failure every single time. And it wasn't until I learned exactly how to build that emotional connection that I started seeing success where girls basically wanted to see me over and over again. I had a girl that was basically wanted to date me in any way that I was willing to allow. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. But when it comes down to like how you actually build that emotional connection, I feel like a lot of guys, when they go on a date, they get caught up in these like very logical questions like, hey, where did you grow up? What do you like to do for fun? What's the craziest thing you've done recently? Or maybe they're following some sort of script. I know I have kind of given guys a routine to use over time. But when was the last time you kind of just really went with the flow and you didn't really just throw things out there just to catch a woman off guard or just to have fun with the interaction and see what happens, right? The more that you can just feel comfortable in your own skin, being bold and taking risks, the better your results are going to be. And that was from my experience. The second thing is when it comes to being bold and taking risks, you have to actually take the risk. Here's another example. I have a client, and let's call him R, right? You know who you are. And he was on a date with a girl and everything was going well. They were touching, he was rubbing his hand on her leg, and everything was just going really well. They were really vibing. And at one point in the date, there was 45 minutes in, she was like, "Oh, how far do you live from here?" Right? And because it's been a while since he's been on the date, he was so focused on, having a good time with this woman that he ended up not capitalizing that and asking the girl to come home with him, right? That came from a fear of, oh, we need to develop a little bit more of a connection. Maybe she's shy. He was imposing his own self-beliefs that was basically blocking his ability to actually generate an emotional connection, right? This wasn't something that she was doing to block it. It was all him, and it was all mental, right? So the one thing that I want you to walk away from this video is that the emotional connection, like how much you make her laugh, how much you feel joy, that energy you feel when you're really turned on by someone, how much of that is there is what's going to make the difference between your date being just one of the 2 or 3 dates she went on this week and a date that she's going to remember for weeks and weeks and maybe even longer.